Cześć ludzie, what's up people? Hola, JT here, welcome to another episode. On today's video, I want to share with you guys, after some reflection, what I believe have been the biggest mistakes that I've made here in Poland. By any means, these are the only ones. I've made more, trust me, but I think that these ones are the most impactful. If I trace back in the 13 years that I've been in the sphere of influence of Poland and Polish people, I think that these ones have had the most repercussions. Like the ripples of those mistakes can still be felt to this day. So sit tight, grab a pen, pencil, or your laptop or your phone and take some notes, because maybe you're making one of these mistakes and you can learn something. I wish I would have found on YouTube video warning me about this. Okay, let's begin. This episode is going to be short, sweet, and to the point. The first mistake that I made that I think had an effect on my life was the fact that I stopped being so friendly. Fast forward, everything's fine. I think I am back to my old self, but you'll understand in a moment. I started hanging out with Polish people kind of like around the year 2012 when I first visited Poland. And it was the first interaction that I had ever had with Polish people. And with the country at that. And I loved it. I loved it. I've covered it many times on my videos. I fell in love with the country, and there was something incredibly intriguing and refreshing about Polish people, because they had this dark sense of humor and just the right enough weirdness. Polish people are a little weird at the beginning. When you get to know them, you wonder, are you normal or are you, what's going on here? You know, and I want to get to know more, because either you're going to be very weird and I have to run away, or you're going to be the coolest person on earth. But there's like an edge to Polish people, especially coming from the perspective of a Latino, right? I don't know, maybe if you're Ukrainian, Polish people is just like, you know, like your cousins or something. But to me, there was an edge there. And I should say that I have never really been a stereotypical Latino, if you will, or a stereotypical Dominican. Yes, I have a lot of characteristics that are very Dominican, but ever since I was young, I kind of always, you know, beat, or my drum beat at my own rhythm, that's how you say it. I like dark, you know, humor, and Latinos are not really like that. Latinos are very, I don't know, very like literal. Latinos don't really understand double meaning in jokes, especially double meaning when there's a little bit of like self-deprecation. Like the Latinos don't speak that language too well. Yeah, I hit it off with Polish people from the beginning. For the longest time, I was myself. The first 2 or 3 years, I was myself. A very happy-go-lucky guy, positive guy, I very touchy-feely, very like, yo, how you doing, man? You know, doesn't matter if we met, you know, last night. If I see you the next night, I'm gonna be, hey man, how you doing? How did you just sleep? Or, you know, something like that. Like we've known each other for, I don't know, months. And I still hold on to that characteristic. But I felt with the years, the subsequent years, that later on, you know, of course, I married my wife and I started hanging out with more Polish people and family and everything. And I started feeling that I needed to kind of like autocorrect a little bit my behavior. Not lose my essence. I was still who I am and very proud to be me, you know, JT, this guy from the Dominican Republic. But I always thought like, okay, I don't want to be the guy that is annoying. I don't want to be the guy that people are talking kind of like behind, you know, closed doors, saying like, how annoying is that guy, right? Like, yeah, do you see? He's always like touching you and all that stuff. Like, so I became a little bit self-aware, I guess. Now that I think about it, it was one of the biggest mistakes I made, but I think it was very necessary that I made it, because it helped me find the right proportion of, let's say, injection of qualities so that I can really thrive in an environment like Poland. Today, for example, I consider myself that happy guy that you will meet and you will feel as if he knows you for a year, but I know when to stop. I know when not to say something that might be misinterpreted. I think I found my way, but there was a chunk of time where I did lose it a little bit, and I became maybe a little bit more, not sad, but a little bit more cynic. maybe, if you will, or I don't know, just less friendly. My second biggest mistake here in Poland was not to stick with Polish when I started learning it. I think it was like 2014, something like that, or maybe 2015. My wife and I were married for a year, a couple of years, and I wanted to learn her language. I wanted to kind of like understand what she was talking about with her friends, with her family. I wanted to talk to Mama Ella, you know, my mother-in-law. Like, I was honestly interested in learning the language. And I think I learned a little bit. My wife was teaching me some things. You know, she has a heavy background in linguistics and teaching. You know how it goes. It doesn't really work. You know, you have your partner trying to teach you stuff. And I eventually found a proper teacher. And I think we took like, I don't know, like 2 or 3 months of lessons. But at the time, we were living in Austria and I was using Spanish, English, and kind of like learning a little bit of German because, you know, I was living there in Vienna, and Polish was just, it was just clashing. Everything was just clashing in my head. I think it was a little bit too much. My work was very intense. I was working long hours, plus I was gigging and kind of like doing music also on the side. So it became a little bit too much, and I kind of like stopped. And I remember telling my wife and even thinking to myself, hey, I will pick it up again. At some point I will pick up Polish because I'm gonna learn this language. I'm gonna master this language. Now in retrospect, imagine, even if I would have stuck with, I don't know, 1 hour of Polish a week, something as little as that, today my Polish would probably be pretty high-ish. Ooh, boy, my Polish would have been amazing. Maybe I could have been making these videos in Polish altogether. My third mistake, and this one, I think this is the one that I really don't think there are repercussions of this. I don't know, but it's the fact that I didn't party long enough or hard enough in Poland. First of all, like I said, because we moved to Poland in 2022. My wife and I have been together since 2012. So those years we were living somewhere else. Austria, the UK. So basically, by the time I moved to Poland, I already kind of like had a life, right? Like we had children. We had one kid. We were already kind of like trying to have another kid. And once you're a parent, man, you don't have time. Your life is completely different when you're a parent. And, you know, I am completely over my, you know, partying, drinking phase. I never really was a big drinker. But let's face it, imagine the parties in Poland. If you've been to a Polish wedding, you know my wedding was Polish. So trust me, I know the level of partying that can happen here in Poland. And when I say partying, I'm not only talking about, you know, your stereotypical things like going out and getting drunk, or, you know, I want to be single and meet the Polish chicks or whatever. No, that's not it. It's more like the camaraderie and the bonding that happens with a Polish person through the act of partying and through the act of having fun. Because I think that one of the things that Poles struggle with the most is just letting go, putting, you know, their guard down and enjoying the moment. They need to be in a certain mental space, which usually involves a little bit of, I just can't imagine. I can't imagine how special it would have been, and all the other friendships that maybe I would have made if you know, me and my wife would have come here kind of like as just married couple, young still, in my early 30s. Yeah, it would have been nice. I don't think there are repercussions of this. I have a very happy life. I would not change staying at home recording this episode today at 9:30 in the evening while my kids are asleep up there. I wouldn't trade that for going out and partying, you know? But I just think that based on my experiences with the little or moderate partying that I've done with Poles, I know that it was special. Yeah. If you're out there partying and you're young in Poland, enjoy it. Trust me. The fourth mistake, I really wish I didn't make this one. I really wish. And that is buying a property in Poland way before I actually managed to get this property that we live in. When I started coming to Poland back in 2013. Based on my little research, the market, real estate and investing and housing in Poland was significantly more affordable than it is now. Of course, the world was still kind of like overcoming the 2008 big world recession, but still prices of property here were pretty good, right? Now, of course, keep in mind, I'm saying this from the perspective of a foreigner, a person that was working abroad, not as a person here in Poland earning, Polish złoty, okay? So probably you're all gonna come and tell me, yeah, dude, it was cheaper in 2013, but you could not afford it anyways. And I am not implying either that I am this big magnate, this rich guy that had and has all this money and that I should have invested back then and, become a real estate mogul. No, not at all. But, we were, I've been working for a long time, long time. There was a moment in our lives where we were saving to buy a house, potentially, right? Like me and my wife. And I don't know, maybe I wouldn't have been able to buy something in 2013, but I don't know, 2016, 2017, 2018, well, would have been a good moment to get in there because the prices of property here have just gone through the roof. And I don't know, I guess a boy can dream. So if you're listening to me and you're thinking about maybe moving to Poland, maybe buying a property here in Poland, and you're like, man, that's really expensive, I'm here to tell you, okay? I'm here to tell you, listen up. Poland is going to continue to grow. The economy is just getting better and better. Of course, at some point it's going to plateau, fine, but all the indicators are there that the future of Poland, it is rich, okay? So get in early, even if you think that it's too late and it's too expensive, probably is not just yet. And the last mistake was not moving here earlier. When we moved to the UK, I was convinced that that was home. I really liked the UK. I liked London. I liked the culture. I really liked living in a country where English was like the main language because I already spoke English, felt very comfortable there. It was a country of music. And as a musician, it was literally like bread and butter. And I was convinced that was our home. And then, of course, the pandemic happened. And the pandemic unraveled a lot of things for us. First of all, how unstable your life can be, especially when you live in a place that is so unaffordable. Yes, salaries are higher, but still, it's like you really think about it, you are living in debt, right? Like no one really can afford to pay outright a property in the UK. Then we start toying in our minds with the idea of, what if we move to Poland? My wife was asking me like, what do you think? She also had her whole journey with Poland. She was the biggest critic of Poland. And through those 10 years that she lived outside of Poland, she changed her mind. She realized that Poland had so many good things. And she started appreciating her country. And she was kind of like asking me, never forcing me, but she was asking me, what would you think about living in Poland? And I was like, this voice in the back of my head was telling me, you know that you will be very happy. You will be very happy there. But I was a little scared. The language that I stopped learning. But eventually, I came around to that idea. I listened to my heart. I listened to my gut. And we moved to Poland. And 2 years and a half have gone by, and I could not be happier. Mistake that it didn't come sooner. I'm happy nonetheless. And life has its way of resolving itself. And here I am in my house in Warsaw, making a video for you guys. Life is nice. Boom! That's all, guys. That's the end of this episode. I hope you liked it. I think I can live with those mistakes. At the end of the day, life is about making mistakes. You cannot learn to lift your feet up and not drag them unless you have banged your toes a few times. If you identify with any of my mistakes, or you have your own mistakes, let me know in the comments. Hey, it doesn't matter if you're Polish. You can tell me what are your biggest mistakes in Poland. You can just say, man, I had the biggest drunken night of my life and I almost ended up in jail. That's okay, that's a mistake. See you guys on another episode. Bye-bye.